I have an intense fear. There's that Robin Williams movie, What Dreams May Come, and the wife and kids are driving down the driveway and die, as the husband's waving to them. And every time my husband pulls out with my teenagers, I think this might be the time they die. This is going to be when they die.
We're so glad you saw that movie.
and because of what I think I know with the laws of attraction, then the next thought is, oh my God, I keep thinking my kids are going to die, so they're going to die.
Well, here's what's really happening. Oh my God, I keep thinking my kids are going to die and I don't want to, so when I think that thought, I feel awful.
Yeah.
In other words, that's all your guidance is saying. Your guidance isn't saying your kids are going to die. Your guidance isn't saying keep that up and your kids are going to die, because you can't create in their reality. Your guidance is saying you're using this movie and this excuse as your reason to not allow yourself to be who you really are. And who you really are trusts the guidance of your children, trusts the integrity of their reason for being here, trusts the value of their life experience, trusts the all is wellness of that which is their life experience. And when you think otherwise, you split your energy. End of story. In other words, we don't ever want you. That's like saying, I want to get to the place where I can cuddle with the hot stove and it won't bother me. And we say, really? Is that what you want? Oh, it's so much better now that I've had that Novocaine put into my skin, because now I hardly notice, except for the odor, that I'm laying on the hot stove. I could stay here forever. And we say, you really don't want to. Your sensitivity is so valuable to you. So when you have that thought that grips you with terror because it's such a horrible thought, it's telling you two things. First of all, this is a subject that really matters for me, that I have a huge vibrational escrow about. There's nothing in all the world I care about more than the well-being of those people. And I, right now, am choosing to think a thought so in opposition with what I want that I'm using it as my excuse to rip myself apart. And then you say, that's not logical. Why would I do that? Well, I didn't know better, but now I do. So next time you do it, you're going to laugh about it. You're going to say, this isn't about something happening. This is about me thinking about something that doesn't match what I want. Every time, that's what negative emotion is. Me thinking a thought that the source within me doesn't think and won't think. Source within me will not think that thought with me, and the fact that I'm insisting on thinking it has me separated from who I really am. And the separation feels like this. And the reason it feels this bad is because it's big separation, because this really matters and I'm really focused in opposition to something that really matters.
So why would I do that?
That's our question to you. And we want to say, not because you're bad, not because there's something karmically that you're trying to clean up. You would do that only because you've been doing it, and it's easier to keep doing something you've been doing than to do something different, to a point, until it gets big enough that you want to do something about it. In other words, what's the path of least resistance? For a while, here's something really good. For many people, you might say, well, it's a path of lesser resistance for me just to not pay attention to my guidance, because it's just easier to think the thoughts that come naturally. It's the way the people around me think, and so it's just easier to go along with those kinds of thoughts. In other words, try to have a thought like death is a good thing and begin to talk about it in public and find out how many of your friends think you're wacko. In other words, it's easier just to go along with what the most of them think, even if what most of them thinking is splitting them apart and rendering them not very happy in their lives. So it's easier to go along with it. The path of least resistance for a while is just to go along with it because it's easier. But if you continue to think a thought that's contrary to who you really are, and law of attraction continues, as it always does, to respond to both aspects of you, then the discomfort gets greater and greater until sooner or later, depending upon your degree of sensitivity, you discover that the path of least resistance is to let go of that thought. And for many of you, you won't let go of the thought until you have a manifestation that really gets your attention. The whole point of what we're talking to you about your emotions is to help you to become more sensitive, so that in the earlier, subtler stages of emotion, you're able to turn downstream. But then you miss the benefit of what our friend was talking about earlier, of the drama of having a fast recovery. We do think you like the drama of it a bit. In other words, it's a great story. I've lost all of this weight and everyone is so proud of you, you see. It is kind of fun to dig a really deep hole and then climb out, because when you climb out, people applaud. But what you're really wanting is alignment, and you're really on the track of that. Now you understand. You'll never again have those thoughts that are contrary to who you are and not know it. People will say, Abraham, is it normal for all hell to break loose in one's life when they begin doing Abraham work? And we say, pretty much. Because when you become aware of who you are, when you tap in to the vibration of who you really are, then you consciously, then you can never be happy unless you are tapped in fully to that again. In other words, it just increases your sensitivity. That's why meditation is such a lovely tool. When you meditate, you stop thought. When you stop thought, you stop resistance. When you stop resistance, your vibration raises. When your vibration raises, you come together with who you are. And once you've experienced that for a few days, you're more sensitive to any split in your vibrational gap. A really good thing.